Okay, let's go over our budget. So, I think that I made a video here a few weeks ago that showed our incomes as mine would start up in February with a new job, or the new job started in January. The pay would start in February, and then with our household and possibly our bills and some of our savings. And as anyone that has ever done a budget knows, things always change. Always change. Either your income changes, your expense changes. It doesn't matter what time of year it is or what year it is for that matter. Something always goes wrong. We'll go into a couple of things that went wrong so far since the last time I made a video like this and updated things. First, one of the things, just a few nights ago, I was sitting in a recliner that I purchased 16 years ago it was a Lazy Boy for under $300, and the chair collapsed. After 16 years of me sitting in it, and of course reclining back and forth, it was time for it to, I guess, be worn out. And so there I sat, collapsed in the middle of the only recliner I've ever used. Previous to that, we had a couch that my husband and I used to sit on that my in-laws owned for 20 years, and then we owned it for 12. Also a Lazy Boy, and when that wore out, it was a few years before we could buy these recliners. We each have a recliner. So we sat on either a couch and then just used our laptops at the time, or we sat on the floor or on beanbags. But after you get to be 50, 55 years old, that's hard to do. When my chair collapsed the other night, the only other option was I either sit on the floor, I sit in my husband's chair, which he kindly offered, or I use a kitchen chair. And we've all came upon problems like this, where all of a sudden something happens and we absolutely do not have the money. We don't have the emergency fund for it. We don't have the income for it. I run into problems like this ever since I was out on my own at 17. So it's always something. It's what keeps us going. It's what challenges us. What keeps our mind a-working and coming up with solutions to all of our problems. And if I can say anything, at almost 62 years old this year, I am a problem solver. So right away I decided what I was going to do, and that is I was going to cut short any type of expenses in February as far as groceries, have enough food for Kitty. Our outside kitty appears to have disappeared. Our outside kitties appear to have disappeared and moved on to other places. So we were going to stay home so we could cut the fuel or the gas expense and just rely some on my 3-month pantry and some what's in the freezer, buy a few groceries and use the rest, because it was President's Day, to buy a recliner in a nearby furniture store, which is exactly what we did. We went in, and for $299 we bought a regularly $799 Lazy Boy that I absolutely love. And the only way that we could do it was to cut the grocery bill, cut the income, or cut the amount of our income that's put towards our grocery bill in February. Just as I got that problem fixed, on came the next one, which I will get into in a little bit. So first, let's get into our zero-based budget. So our income after taxes is $44.80. So after taxes, medical, and retirement, for my husband's income, he brings home $2,800 a month. My income after taxes and retirement is $16.80 a month, a little bit less than what I thought. My hours are a little bit less than what I thought. And here's the next part of setting budgets. You just don't always know. In times where, the markets are acting up, or just things in the world are acting up, or people are scared to take risks, or scared to take on more risks, or they're changing the dynamics of their business. This happens in cycles, as well as it happens just depending on what's going on in the world. And the company that I worked for, then got laid off from, then got rehired from, is still not stable as far as with people that have worked for them for under 10 years. And I worked for them for under 10 years, and they want to hire you back, and they want to put you in a position because they found you to be valuable, but yet they're just not sure. So right now I have a job, but I'm just not working the hours that I intended, or making the income that I intended. As far as a 3-year contract, that went pretty much out the window before I started. So I could either make the decision then to basically have zero income, or go back and see how things worked out as time went on. So I went back, and I'm seeing how things are working out as time goes on. So our total income is $44.80, with the rent going up in March to $15.50. Electric bill is $165. Car insurance is $90. phone, we did upgrade and buy my husband a better phone, and we did that last year sometime, but we're going to pay that off, and then once we pay that off this year, our phone bill will be $101 a month, which isn't bad. Considering when we were buying track minutes for his and paying the phone bill, it was about close to that. Renter's insurance went up to $35. Food, kitty, household, and fuel, with it broke down, kitty $96, fuel $60, household $50, and food $494, which I cut in half basically to afford my recliner, is $700 a month. We wanted more in the emergency savings, but that is not going to happen. So we're going to put $675 in the emergency savings. If I do that for a whole year, that's just 2 months of an emergency fund. So for 2 months, my husband and I would have enough money to pay our bills. Car maintenance, that was another issue that came up that I can get into right now, and that is we had 2 new tires put on our car because my husband came home one night with a flat tire. And we wanted the mechanic just to go over the car. He's a good mechanic, and I think we believe that he's really honest. We wanted him to go over the car and just see what's coming up next, because it's making lots of noises. It's been making lots of noises for almost 2 years. And what he discovered was there's a lot of parts that have been put into our car by other mechanics in this area that are just substandard parts. They haven't lasted how long they're supposed to. We don't travel with our car. We don't go on really bad roads with our car. But these parts are only lasting like 1/3 of the time that they're supposed to. And he has noticed, even though we paid dearly for some of this maintenance, that the parts just are not, they're substandard. I guess the lesson that we learned is, I do all of the research for the upgrades or for the maintenance or for the service work of all of our vehicles. And a lesson to be learned definitely is to know if someone's saying you need your suspension fixed, to know what the high-cost suspension, medium-cost, and low-cost suspension, and then take it to somebody that you trust, which we took it to someone local. It was the only place we could take it. The place we took it for years was no longer in business, so we started just trying to do local, and we just ripped off one by one by paying for high-priced parts and getting low-priced or low-standard parts put in. We used to, years ago, ask to see the old parts to make sure they'd actually, not this place, but the place that closed down, because they had been known for saying they were going to replace something, same as rotate tires, where we discovered tires weren't being rotated and just different things. So to continue doing business with them, we just simply asked for the parts, to look at the parts that were being taken out and look at the parts that were being put in, and we did that for the longest time. With this one in town, they would not allow that, and that should have been our warning sign right there, that they weren't going to be transparent. But we went to them in an emergency situation, stayed with them because it was the only place in the area, and that's a big regret. And finally we found this mechanic here 2 or 3 years ago, and we're very happy. So he pointed out the suspension has subpar parts in it. That's what's making the noise. So again, something unexpected, an emergency situation maybe down the line. So we've seen that we need some suspension parts. I priced them out. I found a middle cost, one that would get us our car 2 more years, because we still plan on using that car. My husband still plans on driving it back and forth to work. We're not going to put it in a salvage yard or resell it or anything. And so we need that kind of a car for him to drive back and forth instead of taking a cab or whatnot. So to put the new suspension in is going to be about $1,000. And that might sound like an unbelievable amount for an almost 20-year-old car, but we want it for another 2 years. And so it's $500 more a year, plus we'll have new tires, and other than that, the oil changes. That's about all that we see putting any more towards our car. And that's going to be done as soon as we have that money saved, probably in the next 3 or 4 months. So that was another thing that I'll have to cut the grocery expenses down in order to afford. So that's an emergency save, the car maintenance savings for the new car. We're still working towards a down payment. I'd like one at $5,000. The new car is being purchased this year. I'm just not sure when this year. Savings for new car insurance, because we expect that the insurance is going to go up at least $100 a month, so we're saving towards that. So with the emergency savings of $675, car maintenance is $100. And obviously we still have some left in the car maintenance fund from last year. Savings for a new car down payment. We do already have money saved for the down payment, but we want to save $150 a month until we purchase the car. $50, we'd like to see more because we know that it's going to go up more than that as time goes on, but we're just going to have a fund that saves $50 for car insurance. Surgery deductible, my husband is going to have surgery. He does have money saved for the surgery deductible, but we're also saving for the cost of the surgery. We have no idea what that's going to be, but we'll end up paying 20% of that. Retirement catch-up is $250. Moving fund is $200. And then envelope stuffing. And so with that, I think I discussed 1 year savings equals, if I save that amount for 1 year, it'll just be 2 months emergency fund, which just isn't enough. Isn't even close to being enough. The car maintenance, that's kind of a low figure. Now with a new car, there'll be things that are under warranty, obviously, probably everything for a little while. But, when you're looking at $1,000 part, you need to save more than $100, or you need to have more saved someplace when you're looking at handing out $1,000 per maintenance duty to a man that I think already this year we've already given close to $1,000. We are behind in our savings for our down payment. We wanted $5,000. We should have almost that by now. We were close, but things come along in life. Savings for new car insurance, that's a low figure. I was hoping for $100 a month, but that's all we can afford to put away. The surgery deductible, the annual deductible is $1,500, and then of course we're saving for 20% of the cost of the surgery. That's what we'll be paying. We are behind in the retirement catch-up, and that we're never going to catch up with, and I'm not going to lose any more sleep over that. The moving fund, I wanted to save more because I just checked again and put in an estimate of the poundage of what we have in the house, even though I have sold, given away, donated and such, probably 40% of what we have owned in this apartment to lighten the load, and it's still going to be close to $6,500 if we move from this state to another state. And envelope stuffing, we do that every year. We have done that every year of our marriage, and I think I even did that when I was a teenager. I think my mother probably showed me something like that when I was growing up. We're saving just for one day trip. It won't even be out of this county, but it'll be someplace to go for the day. My garden is $100. I can't afford anything more than that. Xmas for both my husband and myself, our friends and people that we buy gifts for. We stuff an envelope for birthdays, both our own and friends. We need a washer. Our washer is slowly wearing out, and I think that's close to 10 years old, and we do 2 or 3 loads a day. And then Gabe needs an emergency fund or miscellaneous, cats, dogs, animals, pets have aftercare when they come to the end stage of their life, and that there is businesses that, there's places that come around you can get a hold of. They come around and they will do the end of life type services, and then take your pet and cremate it and return it to you. Do all of those types of things for a certain fee, and that's what we've decided to do with Gabe. We don't really want to remove him from our house and take him on that ride that he hates so much to the veterinarians. We'd rather have somebody come in. That's about $1,000. There's a lot of different places that do it. We have found one that will come this far. Otherwise, we are kind of SOL because there's no places like that in this area at all. So that's some of the things that we stuff envelopes for. And like I said, I've done that every year. So, again, it's never too late to change up your budget, to fix some numbers if you can. You can't really change up your income unless you work overtime, work more hours, work a second job or whatever, or you definitely can change up your income if you quit a job. But it's never, ever too late to just take some of the, the fixed bills like rent. I can't negotiate that. Electric bill, you could go on some sort of like heating assistance or something like that where you your bill you pay a certain amount, but we don't qualify for that. Car insurance, absolutely not. You can't negotiate with. Phone bill, yeah, we didn't have to do the upgrade, but we were paying about that with a track phone, and we both need phones. I mean, this day and age, you don't know what's going to come up and you should have a phone to be able to make emergency calls and stuff like that. As far as our food and that, and household, we don't use our tax return anymore to buy paper goods or household things or makeup or toiletry items. We use a $700 budget, and out of that we pay for our food, our kitty, those household goods, and our fuel for the month. We don't have to have savings and stuff like that or car maintenance funds. We could just fly by the seat of our pants. But we did that I've done that most of my life. And we did that for half of our marriage. And this other half of the marriage, we're almost married now, 31 years, together for 32 years. We just kind of like to do things a better way. So, and then last but not least in that emergency bracket, something that I don't share too much online, but I've had dentures since I was 19 years old. I had malnutrition as a kid several times. So my mom and dad probably thought they were fixing me, but they were not. What I needed was good, solid food offered to me, and I was not given that. I really wasn't prioritized in my family, but that's a whole other video. And so I ended up growing up being malnourished and having issues and going to the doctor and having that be the conclusion each time. It wasn't that I was a picky eater, I just was not receiving nutritious food. I think that I didn't even see a piece of fruit except for canned fruit cocktail until I was in my 20s. I mean, if you don't eat good food growing up, good, healthy, solid, whole food growing up, you tend not to be that type of person when you get out on your own. If you can afford it, maybe, but if you can't afford it, you're just going to rely on crap. And that's pretty much what I did until I was well into my 20s. So I continued to be malnourished, and by the time I was 19, my teeth were pretty much gone. I'd had shyster dentist work on some and do root canals, and that had really led to the destruction of my teeth, and so I ended up getting my teeth taken out and getting a full top denture at 19. And I've had that ever since. I've had that same exact denture, never had to go back and get any refittings, lost weight, gained weight, never ever had an issue with it. For almost 42 years of owning the same denture, it's always, it's gone through a lot. And the other day I picked it up and dropped it on the floor and broke it. So, yeah, that's not something that we ever even anticipated ever having to afford. But there you have it. I guess its time had come, and so you will see intros and videos. I just have to be particularly careful. I have made a dentist appointment. I've gone regularly to the dentist. I've had partials put in and had dental work done and stuff like that, but the upper denture has always been perfect. So back to the dentist, where I'm going to have to obviously get a new denture made, and so I will do my best with intros and stuff. But again, a big expense, one that's not anticipated, one we're not saving for, and it's got to come from somewhere. We could, lots of times I have had comments where it just says, just look for cheaper insurance, or what we could drop the insurance at my husband's job, drop the dental insurance, drop putting money into a 401k. We'd have so much money every month. But you really can't, once you have insurance, just drop it. It's so hard to get it again. The dental insurance actually is a pretty good policy, and as far as 401k, his employer matches it, which again is another thing that was unexpected just recently in the last few days. The company my husband works for was sold. Came out of the blue. No one was aware of it, and there it was, sold, and so a whole new company has purchased it with all kinds of new things coming about. So more stress. I will find the money, obviously, for my dentures because there's a copay and there's a deductible to be met. But in the end, I will do my best with my old denture. It wasn't broken in half, just a large piece was broke off to do intros and that. I don't want anyone to think that I'm not trying to connect or anything like that, or not putting enough effort into my videos. That would be the reason that it wouldn't be long drawn-out intros. So that is the changes. The changes and the surprises and the emergencies and the what's next that can happen. If you have the money, if you're making an income, a way to make an income, and you can change some of your expenses, the first one I always go after is our food. And how do you do that and still stay alive if you go after the food that is the very thing that keeps you alive? Well, having a pantry is a great thing. It's just at my age, with the space that we have, I can't have anything longer, bigger, wider, better than 3 months. And that's been a great thing. And then I turn around when I can and put the food back into it. What I take out, I put back in immediately, so it's there. I'm not depleting anything. Definitely the going and buying meat 3 to 6 months at a time is a lifesaver if you can find it. Giving up meat. I mean, sometimes you just have to. So we've given up like turkey. We didn't buy any extra turkey this year. We didn't buy any extra ham this year. We're slowing down the pace of salmon, only buying 2 chickens a month versus 4 chickens a month, and looking for protein in other ways. Like making a big thing that I'm into now is like dinner bowls. So combining vegetables with a little bit of meat and some rice, or vegetables with a little bit of meat and some potatoes, making dinner bowls, and that's working out great, and still getting protein with nuts and seeds and different types of sauces or peanut butter. So that is working, and we just carve out the money out of the grocery bill for the time period that we have to. And as far as any medical expenses, I usually do get a question about that. We don't have any medical expenses, and I know people would say that we're blessed. I do agree with the fact that I feel like it is a blessing, but it's taken a lot of work. So it didn't just come overnight. I come from a family riddled with health problems and heart problems. My husband comes from a family riddled with high blood pressure, diabetes, and cancer. So neither one of us come from good genes. Neither one of us have good genes. But, 22 years ago now, I decided to change our lifestyle, our diet, the way we did things, and we gave up a lot of stuff. Now, it's worked for us. I don't know if giving up a lot of stuff would work for anybody else, but it worked for us. So I gave up things like makeup and cologne, and we started using special deodorants. We went to Whole Foods. We went, not Whole Foods store, but eating Whole Foods, eating more vegetables, eating less red meat, no more colognes, no more sprays, no more body washes, no more shampoos. We took all of that right out of the equation. For one thing, we couldn't afford it because 22 years ago I had lost a job, and we just bought our first new car. But those are the changes that we made. I quit drinking, I quit smoking, we quit going out, being around, large crowds or in bars or in situations like that. There's just a whole list of things that we gave up. Hard to give up. It was hard to give up smoking, but I did. It was hard to give up drinking, but I did. It was really hard to give up soda or snacks or candy, but we did. And for a long period of time, both my husband and I, there was no snack cupboard, there was no snack shelf. We just really went to town, eating really healthy, getting that 8 to 10 hours of sleep, de-stressing ourselves, and exercising. We used to go mountain biking and hiking and running, all of it. And I do believe that at this point in my life, my health, good health, and my husband's good health has a lot to do with everything we gave up 22 years ago. And I've stuck to staying away from most of it. So yeah, most people, when I wrote a blog post years ago that I gave up makeup entirely, people thought I was crazy, but here we are. A lot of people have over the years given up wearing makeup entirely. It's got bad ingredients in for you. So once those things were removed from our lives, we felt better. Once we lost some weight, we felt better, got out and got some activity. And here in our latter years, it's paying off. So it was a big sacrifice, is what I'm trying to say. It saved us money, and in the long run, without any medical costs right now, it's saving our bacon. So, because we just don't have the money for it. So that is my video for today. I will have another video. I want to get to where it is pretty much, if you're looking forward to watching my videos on Sunday, there is one. Looking forward to watching my videos on Wednesday, there is one. Being that my channel is Shop, Cook, and Eat, obviously some of my videos are going to be shopping, some of them are going to be cooking, and some of them are going to be budgeting. My budget videos, I'm going to start aiming for Wednesday, sometime Wednesday morning or early afternoon. A budget video is going to come out. And on Sunday evenings, it's going to either be about cooking, or it's going to be about shopping, or maybe there'll be both in that video. So at least 2 videos a week, shopping and cooking on Sunday and budgeting on Wednesday. So I hope you're all well. Until next time, take care, be well, and I'll talk with you again.